What's up, Drop Pod listeners? You can check out new episodes of the Drop Podcast every Wednesday, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find all of our content on YouTube at the Drop Golf Podcast and on our socials. That's Instagram and Twitter at the Drop_pod. No matter how you consume us, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along.
This episode is brought to you by All County Exteriors. All County Exteriors is a third-generation, premier exterior home remodeling company celebrating over 40 years in business. In a remodeling world where the average remodeling company only survives in business for only 5 years, All County Exteriors has stood the test of time, providing their customers with top-quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors. They service homeowners and builders with anything from small repairs to large additions. All County Exteriors is not just limited to construction. They have a deep passion for giving back to their community and are charitable supporters of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the American Cancer Society, Roofs for Troops, and Parents of Autistic Children. If you have planned to do any exterior remodeling, call the experts at All County Exteriors for a free, no-obligation estimate for your project. Just call 732-370-2780 or email them at info@allcountyonline.com. That's 732-370-2780 for All County Exteriors for all your remodeling needs. This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Coulott.
What's going on, Drop Pod people? How we doing out there? Hope you had a good week this week. Want to give you a little recap of what we got going on before we get into the episode. Today's Wednesday. Yesterday, Tuesday, episode 2, TPI Tuesday came out. Make sure you go check that out. That's a YouTube vehicle. So head over to our YouTube channel, the Drop Golf Podcast. Go check that out. Again, I'm working with Dr. Mike. It's going to be all winter, helping me with flexibility, mobility, all that kind of stuff. So go check out that video. We're putting it out to you there. And we got this episode coming out on Wednesday here. Wednesday, the 20th. That's really all we got this week, guys. We got Christmas coming up. It's kind of the dead of winter here. We're a little dry this time of year, but we're good as far as like our content goes, as far as the stuff that we've done all year. It's tough to get out to the golf course in the Northeast here this time of year. So not a whole lot going on. But again, head over the YouTube channel, check out the TPI Tuesday, and you can go check out all the other videos. Go do some scrolling. We have stuff out from all year. Last week, I also put out 3 with me at Union League, so you can check that video out.
I thought that was a great video, by the way. I do want to say, if you did not head over to the YouTube channel and check that out, I really didn't know what I was going to see when I watched that, because I see all the Ryan verses and the Mike verses, and I know how they typically go. You make a double bogey, I make a par. That's kind of how all these will go.
Yes.
But I was kind of curious to see how you put your voice into that, because I know I videoed them, and I know I was standing in some freaking tough spots, but I didn't know how you got your voice to get on that video. And listen, I'll tell you one thing that stood out so much to me in that video was the sky on the second or third hole where you drove the third hole. That third hole, that drive, the sky was all blue,
Mm-hmm.
the water's there, and then you pipe that down the middle.
Yeah.
Bro, that was a great drive with a great picture, great everything. I don't know. I looked at that. I probably rewound that a couple times because I just thought that little part of it was so good.
Yeah. I wish that there was like a camera crew recording you during that, because as you said, like you were standing on that tee box, you were standing like on the backside of a dune, and another foot you're falling off, or if you slipped, you're done for. So
it was the same thing on the second hole.
And
when you hit that drive into the right rough, I'm like basically in a little creek standing there like, Rod, just hit the ball. Let's go. Rod, just hit the ball.
So yeah, I did keep it kind of a secret from you. as to what I was doing, and I'll be honest, I'm glad you liked it because I didn't know what was going to be the result of it either. Um, so I'm glad it came out, uh, well. I'm
Yeah, I
glad you
thought it came
liked
out
it.
really well.
Yeah.
I did, because I'll be honest, when you told me the idea when we came there that day, it was like, oh, I kind of like that 3 with me. It rhymes, it rolls right off your tongue. It was cool. I didn't know I was filming.
Hold
I
on.
didn't know I was
Remember, it was
filming on the
originally
very first hole.
9 with Rye.
Yeah, it was.
And that was a
No,
disaster.
yeah. And then when you said to me on the very, very first hole at Union League, we're like dying to get out there. We're like, so we got the course to ourselves. You're like, yeah, I'm going to start on the first hole. I'm like, we're videoing right out of the chute.
Mhm.
Like right out of the, you're like, yeah, we're going to video this. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. But yeah, listen, I thought it was really cool. So listen, I know Ryan says it a lot, but like, go subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Drop Golf Podcast. I know that, those numbers can obviously go up with the amount of followers that we have here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram. So go click that little subscribe button.
Yeah. So that was a blast, and again, maybe a little overzealous there, but yeah, I'm glad. I was very happy with the final product, and looking forward to making more. I think 3 with me is going to be something that we can do. I think it's a bigger undertaking than the Ryan versus for sure, but I think that's something that we're gonna, going into 2024. I think that's something that we're gonna do a lot more of.
Yeah, I just asked that we don't start on the very first hole.
Yeah, again,
Let's get loosened up a little bit. Let's put some oil a little bit in those tires. Let's get that.
Nobody would like that more than me, because how I hit all of 2023. I hit 4 balls left, and in the entire year, and obviously the first one on the first tee is the one that goes left. So, yeah, it was again a little overzealous. I didn't know how difficult that would be. But the idea was to record 9 holes, so to do the front 9, but that's too much of an undertaking. It's
No, but I do think the 3 with me. I think it rolls off the tongue phenomenal. I said, and I think B, it's like, it's a different thing. It's not the same thing that you and I have done. It's not Ryan verse or Mike verse, where it's really just pick a hole. It adds a different layer to kind of like this whole podcast idea of what we've been doing. Like, not only are we doing this every single week and getting episode out after episode with amazing guests and amazing guests, but you're able to add this creative layer to it, that it's not just you and I having these conversations about hot topics or New Jersey guests, but you're able to add this different type of content that, no offense, is helpful to us. And I think, again, I think that was really good, and I commend you for that.
Thank you. So hopefully something we'll be doing a lot more of. So again, go over the YouTube page, the Drop Golf Podcast, and give that a watch. I do also think, let's Mike, let's lift up the curtain here and show it to him a little bit. We've kind of figured out that like the Ryan verse, Mike verse, those can be in doing our research and kind of understanding social media a little bit more. Those, if we keep those to a certain time frame, those can go on the Reels or the YouTube Shorts, and they can get more eyes that way, which is what we're trying to do. But obviously, 3 with me, at best case scenario, it's a par 3 and 2 par 4s, so you're still talking 11 shots at best case scenario. I'll go ahead and say 12, even if I go par, but that's not going to be in it. That's not going to fit into that YouTube reel or the Instagram reel or the YouTube short. So those are going to be more of like a filmy sort of vehicle, which is what YouTube is for. So that's why we keep pushing it there to go there. And the same thing with TPI Tuesdays. Again, I'm a physical therapy session doing TPI stuff. That's an hour plus of a session with Dr. Mike. So it's tough to squeeze an hour into a minute, down to a minute. So again, a little more. I don't know if cinematography is the right word, but like a little more a little more editing and a little bit more of
Yeah, a little
a
more.
watching, you know.
Yeah.
So
Listen, like anything, I think it's platforms that we're looking to grow the audience, to get out there, to continue to showcase, all the good things that we're doing, and all the, the guests on the content. So it's just another area for people to consume us.
yeah. Kind of in that regard, as we're talking about not having a lot going on, where we just have 2 things coming out this week. If you guys have anything for us, shoot us an email, the Drop Golf Podcast at gmail.com. Shoot us a from the grandstand. You got questions, you got a comment to make or a point to make, or something that you think would be good for us to discuss here. Again, a question would be nice, but it could just be a thought. Shoot it out to us. Again, the Drop Golf Podcast at gmail.com. And we'll filter through them, and we'll take some, and we'll do some talking about it. But yeah, this is a good time of year for that, because again, it's slow. Christmas is coming, and well, we'll see what we got.
Yeah, I
in
mean,
the till.
listen, if you think about last time when Pat from Sussex County sent us that question about, would you rather be an elite amateur or a mid-level pro? Like, you and I, we must have talked about that for 15, 20 minutes. So, I mean,
It's a
like,
great question.
when we have, I know. So when we have the opportunity like this downtime, especially golfing here in the Garden State with it being so dry, like, these are a great opportunity for the audience to shoot us some things, to us to digest, to debate, talk about, and add our input. Because I mean, now that everything going on in the golf world, whether it's Tiger this week at the PNC, or if it's Live, or now it's these NFL owners now looking to buy a piece of the PGA Tour with their little group, or it's Live and Rom, like whatever the case is, these are things that, like, it's our way to connect with you, the audience. So again, fire those our way. I love seeing them. I love debating them, and I especially love it when we're on different sides.
Yeah. I do think, Mike, we're very similar in a lot of ways, and in some ways we're vastly different. I mean, again, take away the short, tall, ugly, handsome part of it, but and I won't say which one's which in that second one,
I
but
think we know. It's okay.
uh, I I do think that sometimes when we do get asked those, or when we do, even off camera, right? You and I talk about stuff, and it's like, yeah, 100%. That's how we see it, or when we see it the same way. It is more fun when we go opposite ways, and it's and kind of go the other way there.
No doubt.
So again, shoot us emails from the grandstand, the Drop Golf Podcast at gmail.com. So
I mean,
go ahead.
we got to be talking about Tiger and the PNC.
So yeah, let's get there. But I did want to shoot this out before we did.
Okay.
So guys, over Christmas break, I'm heading down to Myrtle Beach. I'm going to visit my mom down there. If anyone's
Sticks coming too.
Sticks are always coming when I go down there. That's the reason I'm going down.
Oh, I thought it was to see your mom. You know what? I know you're gonna go see mom, and now Mama Kula. I know you listen. I know there's times you peek in. We might need to send you this clip.
So actually, I've always give my mom like a jokingly hard time. She's not a big podcast person, so I don't know if I officially don't know if she's ever listened to an episode before last week. She might have like tried it or whatever, but like, so I told her, I said, Mom, we talked about you on the podcast this week. You should give it a listen. So she gave it a listen last week, and she's like, oh, she did. She gave it a full listen. She listened to the whole episode last week. So, so yeah, maybe we'll send her this clip. But anyway, yes, it's to get away. It's to see Mom. Mom's doing the snowbird thing kind of up in New Jersey for part of the year, and then down south for another part. So I'm going down. I do have some things lined up. It is actually Mama Culat's birthday that week, so I'll be there for her birthday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
21.
I'll let her know. She's got to be older than 38 because that's how old I am. So,
Gotcha. She looks 21.
Yes, that's it. So she so I guess I should, now that I'm thinking about it, I got to get her something still too. But these if you guys got any suggestions, or if anyone's down there and is like, hey, I got a tea time and need somebody, shoot it out to us. Let me know. I'm looking to play. I'm looking for stuff to do. So if you got suggestions in the Myrtle Beach area, or any connections, I'm certainly looking to play. I got some things lined up, but again, open to more stuff. So hit me up, or hit us up. So I did just want to make that little PSA there, Mike, before we got into Tiger and the PNC Championship. My first thoughts, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Woods is yoked up right now. I mean, did you see the picture of Annika and her son, Tiger and her son, and the split screen of it, like the 2022, the 2023? Oh my God. I mean, Charlie looks like a different human being.
He's matured. There ain't no question
Yeah.
about that.
So, I mean, I guess we could look this up pretty quickly, but how old is Charlie? Do you know off the top?
He's a freshman in high school, so what he's got to be 14 years old.
14, 15?
That'd be my 15's too old. He's got to be 14.
Okay.
That'd be my guess, because when I think about it, he's a freshman in high school. Typically, most freshmen are 14. You typically get your license at 17, so you're either a junior or senior year. So my guess is he's 14, and I'm almost 100% certain. I'd probably take that to the bank, knowing how much I know about the Tiger Woods family.
I would think so as well, because he definitely ain't. Freshman year is like 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17. So, I think I was blown away when I saw how much he looks like a man. I mean, the growth from last year to this year is absolutely stunning. And then, we don't know, we're recording this on Sunday, so we don't know how it finished up today, but had some work to do after day one, which leads me to believe that, like, the other guys are really playing some golf. I know Matt Kuchar and his son were...
Kuchar and his son were so good. We're so good. So, I mean, it's hard. I mean, again, like you said, who knows what happens at the end of today and things like that. But, I think when you I can't lie. I watched a lot of Saturday. I did. And again, the things that stood out to me were a couple things. Tiger's walk is unreal. I'm telling you what. I know I said this week's good to you to make the bet. But I'm telling you, if he continues to just get rid of some of this rust here and there, the dude's going to contend in Augusta in April. I'm telling you, his walk looks unreal. The other thing I thought was really cool about the week is how Sam was on his bag. The fact that his daughter is included in the event is I think it kind of shows where Tiger's at, because we all know growing up with Tiger in the late 90s, early 2000s, he was so, narrow-minded, single-focused. It was golf. It was golf. It was golf. Like, there was times you would see randomly a picture of his family, and then obviously all his transgressions, happened and things went sour for a while. Okay. And then all his addictions and whatnot. But I think, in a sense, Tiger's life has come full circle to where he's able to now be a dad, to be a family guy, watch his kids grow up, and to get Sam included in this event, I thought was so cool. It was so cool. I just thought that added a nice little twist to it. And then the last thing I say about the event is I loved how, when the rumors are circulating that Tiger and Nike are done, that after this year, the contract expires December 31st, and that they don't know what's going to happen next, because there's been a lot of rumblings about how Nike can't come up with a shoe for Tiger to wear. And since he's come back, he's been wearing FootJoys. And how can Nike, all they do is make shoes, can't put a golf shoe together for the best golfer ever? It's mind-boggling. And then there's rumors circulating that he's either going to come out with his own brand, and if there's anybody that would get people to buy their golf stuff, it'd be Tiger Woods.
Right.
Or I'm gonna love saying this because I can't wait to see your reaction. Have you noticed the brand that Charlie's been wearing all week?
No, I haven't.
He's been wearing. Okay, so if you've looked on the neck of his jackets he's been wearing, it says Grayson. And there's rumors circulating that Tiger is about to potentially maybe join Grayson as his next clothing apparel. And if you don't know, do you know his other buddy, Justin Thomas? Do you know what brand he wears?
Grayson.
So we can maybe connect the dots here a little bit. I'm just saying.
How, when you saw that, you went forgetting Sarah Marshall. You went. There's no way you didn't go 6 to midnight.
No, so I feel like it's one of those things that I know that maybe I just talk a lot and people are like tone me out and don't listen to me, but I feel like when there's something really good out there and I like it, I'm like, I'm telling you, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. And I'm telling you, if Tiger jumps on it, I mean,
now people will listen.
We get a Frank symbol? Can we get now people, yeah, exactly. Now people say, well, even though Mike's been harping on Grayson for 64 episodes or whatever it is at this point, Tiger puts on Grayson like, yo, you have ever heard of Grayson? It's like the best brand ever. And I'm going to be like,
me over here. I've been talking about it.
October 12th, 2022, just been harping on it every week since. But yeah, listen, I've kind of heard that through the grapevine, but again, I don't know anything, but I just thought it was kind of funny that's what Charlie's wearing this week.
Yeah, that's
and the reporter asked the question, are you done with Nike after this year? He's like, I'm still wearing their gear. And the guy followed it up and asked him again, like, well, does that mean you're going to re-up with them? And he's like, I'm still wearing their gear.
Yeah.
And that was it.
I loved
dead serious.
Right. It was
like, stop asking me that question.
It was the most Bill Belichick answer he could have possibly given. Like, we're like, this is what we're doing. We're adhering to the contract. I've thought that, I think Nike is an inferior golfing brand. I think they, for whatever reason, I never liked their golf clubs. I never liked the golf ball. Quite frankly, I don't even really like their athletic apparel. Like I'm more an Under Armour guy over Nike anyway. But the fact that they couldn't get Tiger a shoe, like, okay, maybe the clubs fit Tiger and he really likes that stuff. Like, or whatever. That's all fine, well and good. The fact that they can't get a shoe that fits his foot properly, like, how is there not just like some it's podiatrists, right? Right. How is there not like a doctor that's in there with like, okay, here's the mold of his foot. This is what he needs. His shoe needs to be a little bit higher, or there needs to be a little more padding, or whatever. Quite frankly, whatever the fuck it is. How do you not just get it done?
Fix it.
Yeah,
fix it.
You're a shoe company. That's what you do. So to me, I take that not as they can't get it done. They don't want to get it done. Like, this has been in the works for a while. I feel like there's got to be some kind of out there. Again, they haven't made clubs or balls in a while. They've just been doing golf shoes, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
like
they got out of the golf club. Yeah, they got out of the golf club and ball business.
Yeah. So I wonder.
But no offense.
I wonder if they want to get
Nike,
out of it. Really, not necessarily altogether, but like, and they just want to go with, like, I don't know. If you can't make a shoe when you're a shoe company for your face, the face of your franchise, basically, I don't know. That, to me, that tells me that you just don't want to, and you don't want to be in the Tiger Woods business anymore. And I don't know. This would not be shocking in the least.
To me, I would say whoever's making that decision, that is the dumbest decision ever, because it's Tiger Woods. We all know Tiger to wear Sunday red with the Nike swoosh symbol on his left chest and the black pants and the black shoes. Like, that is so iconic. It's like Nike saying to Michael Jordan, nah, we don't want anything to do with you, even after the fact. Like, then Tiger needs to make his own brand off of Nike the same way Jordan made Jordan, because you would still buy that stuff. I would still go buy the Tiger stuff with the little Frank symbol of all that stuff on the hat, on the shirt. Like, I love that when he showed up in the Masters and everybody's like, what is that? It's Frank. Yeah. Oh, and then you never heard about Frank ever again.
Nope.
Even though Frank is the head cover of the Tiger on his back. Like, those are things to me that I don't understand as a businessman, and I'm not one, so maybe I just don't get it. But when you have a once in a lifetime athlete like that, You're going to tell me as Nike, as the biggest brand in the world that people wear all the time, from shoes to apparel to everything else, that we're going to let Tiger Woods go? Are you out of your mind?
Yeah, I would think so. There's I don't know why you would do that. Again, that'd be like Nike dropping Jordan when he's retiring. Right? And I know Tiger's not retiring, but like the name of Jordan has lived on. Jordan hasn't played basketball since 2021. So you're talking 20 plus years, and the Jordan brand is even bigger than it was in the 90s. So I don't know why. I have no idea why they would do that. Again, maybe there's CEOs of Nike for a reason, and they make a lot more money than you and I do. So maybe they know something we don't, but I don't know why. I don't know why or how you just couldn't get it fixed right. Or again, then the other thing would be, okay, Tiger likes the FootJoys.
Copy them.
Buy FootJoy then. Yeah, like
copy them. Give me the shoe, and we're going to make the same damn specs for a Nike shoe.
Yep. I
don't know.
Again, it just feels negligent to me. It really does. It feels like there was, for someone like Tiger, there's a will, there's a way, and they didn't seem to have the will, so it didn't get done. It just seems very. Again, that's why I think this was fractured for a little while, because if they foresaw that the contract is ending this December, and they were like, well, no, it doesn't do us any good to like put all this money, time, any of the science into making him a shoe that he's only going to wear for a couple months. To me, that says that this was out a while ago.
Yeah, but people would still buy that shoe. That's the crazy thing, and you're still making money off it.
Yeah,
but again, listen, I don't know. But and I know I teased that with the Grayson thing because I saw Charlie wearing it, and I thought that was kind of great. But I find it hard to believe that if Tiger does leave Nike, that he doesn't make his own brand. Like I find it hard to believe that Tiger just doesn't make his own brand from this point on, because he is his own brand. He doesn't need to piggyback off somebody else.
Right.
I just feel like if he wanted to make something and sell things under a Tiger Woods brand, the man can do it.
Now, do you think maybe that's what happens with Nike? You think that he stays with Nike and they make like his own, like this contract's ending, but he's going to re-up with Nike and make the Tiger brand like Jordan has? Because we all know that Jordan brand is Nike. It just has the Jordan stuff on it. Or do you think, or are you saying that he goes with Grayson and Grayson opens up this Jordan line and it's, this Tiger line, and it's Grayson stuff that just has Frank on it?
I think if Tiger leaves Nike, he makes his own brand separate from all other businesses.
Okay, so he's going to get
his own. Okay. He makes his own clothing brand, not with Grayson, not with Nike. It's going to be Tiger Woods, and he's going to come up with some name for it. It's just going to be his gear, and just like every other clothing business company in the world, he'll come up with the way he likes the shirts, things like that. I just feel like it's a no-brainer, because why? I guess why get in bed with somebody else if it's not Nike?
Well, because I think Under Armour's better, but
yeah, but not when you've been with Nike since the early 90s,
yeah,
or mid 90s, whatever it's been. Like, it's, to me, like, they've stuck by him through some really, really rough times.
Mm-hmm.
And now the fact that the guy is looking better, he's feeling better, he's playing better, why would you even attempt to dump him now? He's coming back. He's playing. He's visual. He's out there. He's hitting a golf shot. The guy is huge. Like, I don't know why. I don't know, but listen.
Yeah, it does have that feeling, right? We don't know, you and I don't know, we don't know anything that's going on behind the scenes there, but it does get that feeling that he's out, and why would you do that? Let's talk about the golf, though. I want to go back to what you said about his walk. He did look good on his walk. Now, again, I'd like to say it's only 2 days, and we only saw one day. It's not 4 rounds. And we know it's not nearly as competitive, but he did look good walking. The surgery does seem to have worked, whatever this latest one was, but his gait looked good. He wasn't like last time we saw him limping around the Masters. He was very clearly hurting there. He does look good. He looks like he's got a nice little, there's no hitch in the giddy up at all. So yeah, he does look good. And we know he's got the skill. It's just, can he walk it? We've always said that. Everybody says that. That's not breaking news. There's people that are reporting that. That's not breaking by any means. But yeah, if he can walk, he can play, and it does look like he can walk. So,
and if he can play, he can win.
It's true. It's true. Did you take Tiger? What are Tiger's odds? Did you take Tiger for the Masters yet?
I don't gamble, but I have no idea what they are. Haven't looked, but I've been trying to help my friend, aka you, win a few extra bucks. So I don't want to play the "I told you so" game come mid-April. So,
all right. So that's gonna be it for Mike and I. We're gonna send you to an interview that we did with Jennipher Satterly. For those of you that don't know who Jen is, she is a golf course landscape painter. I did say that she is a golf course landscaper in the interview, which she corrected me, which I was glad. She paints golf course landscapes. She's commissioned by Pebble Beach, so she's the only one who's legally allowed to paint Pebble Beach, St. Andrews. She's been commissioned by dozens of other super famous golf courses, and they're amazing. They are beautiful paintings. It was really cool to get to talk to her and hear about her process. And she's a Jersey girl through and through. We talked about her time down here in my neck of the woods. At Sun Eagles with her grandfather. So it was really, really cool. Getting to chat it up with her and hearing her story, again, her process, how she got into this. It's a very interesting, very niche part of art or in the golf world. It's just another different angle that she's doing, and it was super, super cool. And just the absolute nicest lady that I've ever talked to. I mean, just it was just a doll. I mean, she was really a whole lot of fun to talk to, and again, hear all that she had to say. So here's our interview with Jennipher Satterly. Enjoy. All right, so today's guest is Jennipher Satterly. Do you prefer Jen or Jennipher?
Actually, either's fine. Okay. Whatever you're comfortable.
Jen is an American representational painter, and she specializes in golf course landscaping. She's from here in New Jersey, and we're lucky and glad to have her on. So, Jen, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you so much. I love it. Golf course landscape painting is different than golf course landscaping, but I love that you said that.
Oh, I didn't even catch that I said that.
It's been said before. So yes, if you see me pruning trees out on your golf course with a paintbrush in my hand, you'll know it's me.
Good. That's good. I appreciate the correction there. I actually want to start here. I always say this about golf courses specifically. We've all been out on the golf course at really any time of day, but it does tend to be when the light's better, dusk or dawn. That golf course pictures, like you're like, oh, this is a beautiful picture of even just whatever hole you're on. It doesn't need to be some magical place. And it never does it justice when you take the picture and then you're looking at the live view compared to what you got on the picture. It never does it. It's never as good, It's never as doesn't pop as well or whatever it is. It just doesn't capture that feeling. But when I look at your paintings, I do get that feeling. I think you do capture that essence of the time that's out there. How do you do that?
Oh, I don't know. You're right.
I figured I'd start with the hardest question first. How do you capture
No.
essence in your paintings?
No, I mean, that's what painting is for. That's why painting is still relevant. It's there's lots of reasons for making art, period. There's lots of reasons for making paintings, but I think within the genre of golf and its history, there is an opportunity to capture those feelings of, human experience when you're out there. You can do that with paint. But when you're taking single shots, think of it, it's like putting your head into a vice. It's stuck there, right? You hit the button, and that's one angle, it's one moment. It doesn't capture how it feels all the way around, however many degrees you're willing to turn your head, right? Like, it's
Right. Yeah.
the whole experience. So, that's kind of what makes it valuable and makes it special, is to be able to do that with paint, because you can't do it with a photograph.
Yeah, it's one of the things that, like, as I was going through my research and looking up all your stuff and all the work that you've done, I couldn't help but think that as I'm looking there, like that, you see all these pictures that people post and you're like, wow, that must be a beautiful sight, but it really is just like a nice photo. But it misses that, like, feeling. It as the kids say, it didn't hit, and then I look at your stuff, and it does. I get the feeling of standing on the tee box at Pebble Beach and seeing the waves crash behind. I can envision that more in my mind. I don't know what you were able to capture, something that moved me, quite frankly, as I was looking at the paintings.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you.
Yeah. So again, that was the one thing that I really wanted to know. I was really interested in that. But let's go back to the beginning, I guess. You're super talented at both painting and, I assume, passionate about golf as well. How did you get to where you are now? How did you come down this path of molding both of these talents?
Well, it wasn't planned, for sure. I think it found me ultimately. I started painting. Well, I started making art, as a little kid. And I was on a golf cart at 6 years old with my grandfather. It's one of my fondest childhood memories, actually. My grandfather at that point was retired. He jumped out of planes in World War II, and he was a retired military guy, So I grew up sitting next to him on a golf cart at Fort Monmouth Officers Club, which happens to be a Tillinghast course. And he was very quiet. He barely said a word. But then he'd say something like, "Don't hit the pin." And inevitably, every time I would hit the pin. So that was fun. I was the only descendant that ever was allowed to even play golf with him. I played golf with my dad as well, who was a scratch golfer too. And I did not grow up going to a club. In fact, lots of family vacations and driving range. And I've always loved the game. And when I got to high school, I was the only girl on the then boys golf team. So I played golf in high school. And then I went to art school. So no one at the time, I don't really know why. I mean, I was okay. I mean, I was decent. They allowed me to play on the boys golf team in my town, which is now just the golf team. But it wasn't until, well, gosh, that after that, it was a lot of trips, traveled and played. But again, it was just here and there. And it really wasn't until years later. More recently, I've got 2 boys, and my husband and my 2 boys, we were out on the course playing, and it was twilight and it was beautiful. And between high school golf, really, and playing 6 years ago is when I pivoted my entire career to playing golf. I had a moment, and I say this all the time, but it's exactly what happened. It was like an epiphany. It's very difficult when you're come from a family of artists and creative families. Well, my dad was in banking, but but surrounded by, well, I was always able to point is, I guess I was always able to paint and draw anything. It's kind of a blessing and a curse. It's very difficult when you have the facility to figure out what you actually want to make, because you can make anything. So it was tough. But at that moment, it just hit me like, oh my gosh, this is something I've loved my entire life. This is something that's been special and meaningful for me throughout my entire life. And I didn't realize, because I didn't know the history of the genre of golf art, I didn't really know it existed. Wow. So I have to paint this. So I went back to my studio and I kind of dropped whatever else I was doing and made a bunch of golf paintings, a couple, and people saw them. And then I don't know, a couple months later, I ended up at a PGA show. So it evolved. And then the more I decided, wow, this is something I really love, I started looking into, I did a lot of research. The USGA was extraordinarily helpful. I spent a lot of time at the USGA Museum, and in the archives. I've seen every rare book, every first edition, every piece of artwork that the USGA has in the archives. And
that just gets my spidey senses tinkling. I love history, and that's my right in my wheelhouse there.
Good. You can relate. I was fully nerding out.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy path. I mean, I did go to graduate school. I believe I'm the only artist on the globe in the world that has a Master of Fine Arts in painting that paints exclusively in the genre of golf. There are others that have been in college, but I don't know anyone with an MFA that actually does this. And to go a step further, there are very few people that do this exclusively anyway. So it was, I don't know, it's scary to do something where you have a successful career and I was having solo shows and painting other things and doing a lot of private commissions. I'm a trained portrait painter too. So, it was a crazy move. And, but that said, I look back and every day there's always something that happens that I look back and I think, oh my gosh, like, why did I go to graduate school in Scotland? Or why did I have all these other experiences. I'm a junkie for history. I love classical architecture. I was doing all this other work that's led me to do what I'm doing now. And it wasn't even a year later, I got a call from Pebble Beach to talk about the possibility of becoming a licensee. And that opened so many opportunities for me. And it's, basically that happened. And then clubs, 90% of the work that I do is private client, private club commission. I put nothing on social media. I don't put anything on my website. I have a couple of things on the website, but I don't show any of it. All of the privacy of all these clubs is maintained. So I don't even, if someone comes to me and wants a print or something of something that's not a private club, that's not their club, I don't sell that to them. You have to be a member.
And you got to keep I'm sure there's I don't know if you came up with this or the clubs, but I'm sure that they don't want their stuff all over to just some random people that's never been there, just has a collection of stuff. That makes sense to me. They want to keep the uniqueness of it.
The exclusivity, the privacy.
Exclusivity, yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Well, and exclusivity can be good at some time, at some point, but in other times it's not. We want to be inclusive, and now I'm official fine art licensee for St. Andrew's Links Trust. So I am now able to have public work of Pebble Beach legally. I'm allowed to. I didn't know this in graduate school. No one said you're going to need to have a license agreement with. I had no idea. And a lot of artists don't. And they're making work technically illegally. They can get cease and desist paperwork from any club that's got trademarks on their course. So I'm legally allowed to create and sell artwork of Pebble Beach and St. Andrews.
Those are two good ones. I would say if you're looking for two, those are two of the top ones you'd look to do.
Well, for public, I mean, that said, other clubs don't have they don't worry about that kind of stuff. But in this case, For me, that's enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
Just that, 'cause I can sell that work publicly, and then all the other private work is private, and I'm really private, so it works for me.
So this is stepping outside your comfort zone then if you're
Come on.
I love all of that, but there was one part really in the beginning that I want to ask you about, and it's Sun Eagles. Did you grow up around Sun Eagles?
No.
Oh, okay. Because Sun Eagles is like right in my backyard, and I've played there for a number of years, going back all the way to when it was still commissioned only, like you played with your grandfather. My best friend went to West Point, so we were able to get on when he was in college, and it was still private then. It went public just a year or two after that, but I love that place. The bones there are terrific. Tillinghast did a phenomenal job with that course, and I've been saying for years it just needs some TLC, and recently, maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago now, the Martelli Group bought it. They're doing work to it and building houses in the officers' quarters and that kind of stuff. So I don't know if you've been down lately, but it's really quite an accomplishment what they're doing there.
Oh, I'd love to see that actually.
It's actually going full private next year. That's where it's gone to. That's like the level that they've gotten to. But yeah, that's interesting. And what high school did you go to that there wasn't a girls a golf team? If you don't mind me asking.
No. At the time, it was just. I don't think it was particularly. It wasn't purposefully segregated. Just no girls played. Does that make sense?
It totally
I'm sure
does.
there were other kids had girls, and there was a girl after me. And I used to think I was the first, but a good friend, family friend, and well, he was older than me. He said that there were girls that played. I went to Glen Ridge High School. It just depends on the location. I think
Yeah.
a lot of the other like warmer climates definitely have girls teams, both.
Yeah. Well, that's what I didn't know if you were from around here, like close to Sun Eagles that would have a course or a girls team nowadays than that didn't back then, like Red Bank Catholic, Colts Neck, that sort of thing.
My dad taught at Red Bank Catholic for a very short period of time, I believe, before he went to grad school.
Oh, very nice. So yeah, you're familiar with my neck of the woods here.
A little bit, just a little bit.
So that's amazing that you just kind of had this like epiphany, and then this full pivot, like the courage that much take to say, hey, I have this successful career that I now want to pivot into this other career that nobody else is doing. How confident were you in like the niche that you found, and you're like, this is what I have to do? Like that again, that's scary just even thinking about.
Well, yeah, I mean, our boys are 13 and 11 years old, so they were really little at the time, and yeah, I was terrified. But right, anything worth it, and I think too, when something hits you that hard and you feel that you just know, it's like you just so passionate about it that I don't know. I mean, I think it's the most responsible thing to do is be fearless and get on with it and follow your dream.
Yeah, I think you were about to say that old adage of like anything worth doing is going to be hard, and with hard is going to be scary sometimes. So
I think with kids and a mortgage, scary turns into terrifying. All these other things, like yeah. I mean, it's not an easy pivot. But that said, too, it's opened up so many opportunities, and even this summer, bringing the boys to Pebble Beach for the U.S. Women's Open and having them experience the magic of seeing what all those women were so psyched to play and be there. It was so special for everyone on so many levels. The first time in history that the U.S. Women's Open's at Pebble Beach, and Mom made the official commemorative painting, and Mom was signing posters. Like, it was nice for them to see that my kids, for at least for a week, that I wasn't just the mom that does their laundry.
Right. Yeah. Like you're awesome. You're not just mom. You're also awesome, and you're doing cool stuff. And like people are looking at your painting and they're commenting on it. That must have been a real kick for your whole family there.
That was good. That was good for them. I mean, they know, but it's still, like, oh God, where last year, my younger son, I brought him to St. Andrews, and he's like, oh God, Mom, oh, can I miss 4 days of school? He was very excited about that. But getting out there and doing the field work and like, I mean, I lived in Scotland, so whatever, but it was great. I've been there since grad school, but it was so nice to be back and to have that experience and see it sort of through a fresh eye when my son was 10. Oh, you have a lovely wee boy. You have a lovely wee boy. He was great. They're offering him half pints of Guinness, and he's like, no, iron brew. I'll have iron brew. It's awesome. But walking the old course and we went to each bunker, and I had him naming every single bunker, and just really all the little details and stuff. It's magic. It's so magic.
So that actually is a great lead in to this next question I have for you, which is, what is your process like? Like you get commissioned, you go to the old course, you go to Pebble, you go to these places where you get commissioned to do stuff. What's the process like? Is it like, hey, does Pebble say, hey, come do our 7th hole, or do you decide this is the angle I want to do? This is like, give us some insight as to like how that process goes.
Well, I guess when I was first trying to figure out, because you develop, I believe, as a painter, you develop your professional painting practice through practice. It's like and in doing my research to figure out, like, okay, I can do this as a career. I reached out to an artist. There are other artists, not many, that do paint golf. They have their painting practice and specific rules. And I reached out to the artist Linda Harto, who is she's just a lovely woman, so kind. To find out more information, right? Like, see who's doing it. Now, that said, I have a contemporary art background and painting practice. I grew up in the Metro New York area. I lived in New York City. I worked for the many painters who were considered part of the movement, New York photorealists and painterly realists. They all studied with Joseph Albers in the early 60s at Yale. And I've had fellowships and grants, and I come from a very specific art world. I was, studio assistant, cleaning brushes, running around Manhattan when I was just starting out. And I have a painting practice already. So to do this was like, oh God, I have to reinvent a painting practice. Like, what am I going to do? We would never paint from photographs. There are things. But now I go to a course, I walk the course. And Linda Harto is not a golfer, but she knows golf courses because she's been doing it a very long time. I reached out to her and she was super kind, and I said, hey, can I visit you? Can we have a studio visit? I'd love to meet you. And she said, sure. So I flew down to South Carolina, and she's like, stay in my guest house. So I spent a weekend with her, and my husband was like, you're going to do what? You're going to go stay with a stranger? And she thought, she told me later, said, oh, I have a perfect stranger coming to spend the weekend. But it was like we were friends in another life or something. Like, I feel like she's family, and she was very generous in sharing her practice. So I've used bits from what she does, and times have changed. Her practice is what it is. But the world has changed. The golf market's changed. Courses, obviously, you see this every day, are getting renovated, and everything's constantly changing. But ultimately, I have kind of, as any artist would, develop my own. So I draw, I take hundreds and hundreds of photos. I have an assistant that sometimes comes with me to get different angles. And it depends on the course. You need to spend usually a few days doing the field work. I mean, that's the ideal way to do it. Take a bunch of pictures, go back, make a composition, use the best imagery to jog your memory. Now, as a lifelong golfer, I can walk a course and I'll know, okay, well, this is where I would take my approach shot, or this is how I would use a 7-iron here, or I think about it in a different way. Not all people painting golf have that vantage point.
Right. That's got to be a
So
huge
that's where I
advantage,
feel
right?
like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
it is. Well, it is me because I nerd out and I like to have all of the details. I like to know, for me, it's very much about how you feel. And how do you feel when you're going to look at it? How does the viewer feel as a golfer? How does someone who might be a lover of golf but not a golfer, a lover of art or landscape, how do they feel? I mean, it's all about feel, and golf is all about feel, right? You feel your shot. I find the process of painting, my painting practice, and my golf practice, they're they're both meditative for me. They're intertwined. Like I could just putt for hours and just practice. I could go to the driving range and I could do all different shots with all different clubs, not necessarily any particular order, but for me, it's so meditative, and I find that fascinating. Like just that I can do either. I mean, making the work. So anyway, you gather all of your nuts, right? You get all of your information together and you bring it back to the studio and you just look at everything and you think about the experience and you think about, okay, like where was the best, like for Pebble Beach, for instance, certain holes are going to look better at certain times of day. Like you wouldn't have the best angle of, um, well, the seventh, because it's at Arrowhead Point, you've got the sunrise or the sunset. You've got a very beautiful situation. But like the 18th, for instance, maybe that would be better. Also, too, I check the tide schedule for Pebble Beach because it's along the coast. So if you want those big spectacular waves, which is not why they call it Stillwater Cove, um, the other side of that is if you're there when it's not full moon or the tide schedule, you don't get high tide. With like the U.S. Women's Open, if it's so still, you can see all the beautiful reflection. That's another experience when you're out there playing. So I try to find something in whatever course that's going to give you that feeling that what gives it its Pebble Beachness or its old courseness or its wherever, because otherwise it's just like any golf club, anywhere. What is going to make this course identifiable and special? Like Somerset Hills, that row of apple trees. You can pick an apple and eat it while you're walking up the ninth fairway. It's so cool. So that's important as well. And I kind of, I won't take a commission unless I feel like there's something there to really do. So anyway, then it takes a couple of months to make the painting. It takes 6 to 8 weeks to order. I use only museum grade materials. That's my background. So archival museum grade materials. I use a guy that does all the stretchers for MoMA and the Met and everywhere else. And Belgian linen, you name it. And down everything is museum grade and archival. It takes quite a bit of time, costs quite a bit of money before I even start. And then once I have it, it takes a couple of months to create the actual painting, and then it takes some time to dry, and then it goes to image capture, and then sometimes it goes to framing, and then all that other fun stuff. But it is cool. I didn't know in grad school that I'd be making a piece of art that would get unveiled and that 300 people would be clapping. I mean, that's just crazy. Like, I love it. It's at first I was like, oh God, this is scary, but it's wonderful that we can celebrate the game in all different kinds of ways. It brings people together and it makes me really happy.
Yeah, I just, that whole thing just is, there's so much that's so fascinating, from like the nerdy history things to even like the little, like you talked about how that cove, sometimes it's got the waves, sometimes it's flat and you can see the reflection and stuff like that. Even thinking about that, there's so many little details that I don't think the normal person would understand, but then when they see it in a painting, you, like I said to start, you bring it to life, and that you do such a great job with it. It's really, it's really impressive for sure. Is the process the same wherever you go, or do you find that now obviously like you go to Pebble, right? You're looking at the tide schedules, and you go to Somerset Hills, you don't have to worry about the tides. But is there some place that you go, like, does it matter the level of the course, or is it the same every time? Just like I'd imagine, again, like a putting stroke, like, hey, I got this 8-inch putt, my motion, my warm up is the same, whether it's a 8-inch putt, 10-foot putt, whatever the case is, we're doing the same thing.
Well, I'm sure you can relate to this. I can certainly, your putt, your timing, your tempo can all be spot on, and you might have that practiced, down to a science. But then you get to a course where they've just rolled the greens and your putt goes flying. So, you know, I've come to learn, and this has really been quite a short, I've been painting my whole life. Professionally, I've entire professional career of creating artwork. So from a technical standpoint, it's the painting, but golf painting and the experience of this field work, is not new, but I've been doing it for now 6 years. And what I have come to learn is that every different course has its own unique palette, its own voice. And I feel like, and like I say this, I'm not a hippie, but I love hippies. Um, but it's my job to sort of be the vehicle or the means to pull that out, because I can see right away, like, oh, this is clearly, I know the signature hole. It's like looking at a menu and in a restaurant you've never been to before, and finding that thing on the menu that they're known for. Like, what is that going to be? It's like a game. It's kind of like a game, like a puzzle. So um, there's always, every course will have its own unique thing, and it's not about me. It's about finding what that special thing is, and then I can help make sure the composition is beautiful, and that the scale and proportion of the actual piece goes in the right location. And that's where my um, other background, for years I worked with classical architects, interior designers, based out of Manhattan. I worked for Ralph Lauren Home Collection for years, as well. I can very easily, and it's funny, I don't know how this happened, but clubs ask me, well, where do you see this going? How do you see this? And at first I was like, what? Why are they asking me? They just met me. But I get it. And I'm very confidently can say, yeah, this is the right composition for this space, and this is the right proportion, and this is the style of frame it should have. And I can, this is the 5-year-old saying, I know. I was such a little know-it-all. I probably would have been irritated by my 5-year-old self. I know. Oh, I knew that already. I know. But all these years of all this experience, I feel like I can really, it's been fun, and I don't advertise. Clubs call me, they've heard and they know that I'm going to respect their privacy, and it's all private. And the more private I am, the more calls I get.
Yeah, but
which is weird.
Talking about the exclusivity of something like that's, the upper echelon clubs, that's what they want. So that's, they trust that they're getting that with you, and that's a huge, building that trust. If you come into them and that trust has already been built, then I'm sure they trust you on so many other things, because that's the thing that they're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome, but at the same time, I feel like art should be accessible to everyone, and I've always felt that way. So this whole exclusivity thing is not necessarily something that I've ever championed. I've always felt like anybody should be able to experience, everybody equally should be able to experience art. Whether you're a golfer or not, it should be a beautiful thing to just see, look at. And, we're human. It's not a screen. It's wonderful. There's texture. There's a physical texture to a painting, and there's gestures in the strokes, and it's juicy, and we're human. So I love the idea of making public art, and I'm trying to work on all that right now. It's not a secret anymore. I've just told you, but, art that's accessible to everyone. You don't need to be in the upper echelon at a private club to necessarily afford to have it. You can experience it publicly.
Well, once it becomes public, you let us know, and I'm sure that Mike and I are going to have a couple in our houses somewhere.
Oh, I love it. Well, no, I mean the pebble work. We have actually. There's a lot of work right now. There is one shop that has been supportive since the beginning. For me, the only shop that sells my work. They're located at Pebble Beach. It's called Golf Links to the Past. They're right across from the front door of the lodge at Pebble, and the manager, Chris Little. He's a lovely chap. He's the grandson of the famous Lawson Little, and he's a very smart guy, and he knows lots about golf history, and they sell my work. So originals, they sell prints, and they also, I mean, people can contact me, contact my studio, and set up commissions and all that fun stuff. But Golf Links to the Past um, sells my work, so you can buy it actually sometimes.
Sometimes when it's available.
Yeah. We're working on a website, and I don't know. I can't. That's where I get lost.
Well, Jenna, I had cut you off in the beginning about you had some kind of surprise or something to tell me. What was that?
Well, I had been doing some homework on you guys, and I love what you do, and I think it's probably not a podcast interview time, but a conversation over pints and around. Hopefully, you guys will come and play Glen Ridge at some point. But I was looking at the picture, the little digital picture of the caricatures of you guys with your map and your little collection of balls on the back wall and the whole thing. And so my request is that at some point you'll let me make a little digital golf painting, Jennipher Satterly golf painting for your digital wall, so it can be on your wall. I want to put a poster up on your
1,000% you can. That would be amazing.
I am happy. I feel like, okay, my work is done here. That's what I want to do. But I think it should be of your favorite course in New Jersey. Whatever that is.
That's so funny that you say that, because when Mike and I first started this whole thing, right? Like, so little quick background, like him and I went and played around at Hominy Hill, and we start bouncing this idea around, and he comes back to me the next day. He's like, yeah, let's do it. So then I'm like, okay, how do you start a podcast? I have no idea. There's not a playbook for it or anything like that. Is it just going to be like, I didn't even think at that time we were going to turn this into a business, right? So that's how there's no guide map. There's no nothing there. So I'm like, okay, what does podcasts have? Oh, podcasts have like a little sticker or poster. So one day I'm like, all right, let me work on this. So I start working on, I tell him to send me his Bitmoji, and I start doing that. So it's funny. The golf course is in the background. Mike's been a caddy at Manasquan River. His family's been a member there, for many years. So that's the one over Mike in this little thing.
Ah.
And then at that point, the nicest course that I had ever gotten to play, I've gotten to play 9 holes at Baltusrol. Is it Baltusrol or Ridgewood that I have up there? It's one of those two, but that's the one that's above me. But I'm like, I take the picture, right? I crop it. I'm like super close to the thing took me literally an entire day. I must have spent 8 hours working on it, and we use it for every YouTube podcast. It's the only thing we use it for. It's not like it's a big player in our rotation of pictures, but it's funny that it's really funny that you mentioned that. But 1,000%, I would love that. That would be incredible.
Guys, well, and maybe, I don't know, like this is what I do, right? I get so excited, and then I'm like, I have to do this. But yeah, I have to make you a new backdrop little illustration of the two of you guys, for sure. I would do that if you wanted me to as well. Like when you guys are ready for your, upgrade. I like the digital pic, don't get me wrong.
We'll take any and all of your stuff. We'll take.
We'll put, I don't know, right? Like, you should be allowed. I don't know. I could probably work on that too. Whatever courses, if they needed approval, maybe they would let us do a little digital rendering of
Yeah.
Jersey.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
that was it. That was my soul.
That was so cool. Yeah, thank you. That'd be great. That'd be great. Jen, you started to say where people can find you. Where can we find you? What's your Instagram, website? What's all that kind of stuff that people can go check your stuff out?
According to my 11-year-old, I'm an Instagram noob. I do have Instagram, but I keep it very, very light. It's JS Golf Landscapes is the Instagram, and my website is jennifersatterly.com. And then in 2024, there will be jennifersatterlyshop.com. So right now, there will never be an e-commerce component on my actual fine art website, but there will be soon to come, Jennipher Satterly Shop. In the meantime, Golf Links to the Past at Pebble Beach, they have a website as well. You have to call them or mosey in the next time you're playing around at Pebble. That's how those are the only ways to find me. I do have an 800 number for private commissions. My office, it's 888-208-4560. And I do want to share a little bit about the New Jersey Golf Foundation with you guys as well. I think it's a really good.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a great cause.
Everything that New Jersey Golf Foundation does for the state have you guys met with them at all? Have you had any?
I believe Mike.
Done any?
Yeah, I believe Mike's been in contact with them. We haven't done anything specifically. I don't believe. I hope I'm not forgetting something, but
okay.
But
no,
nothing
not to put you on the
specifically
spot.
with them.
Okay. Well, I've had the good fortune and the privilege of being on the board of trustees for the last 3 years. And they do extraordinary work. They have sort of 3 pillars that they focus on: military, special needs, and youth. And all of these programs are amazing. I was at the Inspiration driving range this morning for the vets, families, military families, vets, PGA Hope. We're working on a project to create a memorial, and it's almost completely in development, but on the website, you can actually go on the website and donate for this particular Inspiration driving range. They're going to have, there's 4 different sizes of bricks, and they're making a path. So if you have, everyone's got some military contact. For me, certainly it's my grandfather. It's such a great thing to do for the vets. It's really important, and you can donate individually for, I guess you can put different, they can laser into a brick, so you can memorialize, you can remember a loved one, or, family member, friend, or you can just put your club logo on donate and have a logo put on a brick as well. So I love that. I think it's a really good cause. And I love that, I'm able to spread the word on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm my grandfather as well was in World War II. He passed away last year at his, it was 104 months or something like that.
Oh my
so
gosh.
It was so I felt very fortunate to be connected to him, but yeah, I have 2 of my closest friends are in the military, so I'm involved in the Tunnels to Tower organization as well. So I have quite an affinity for the military as well, as it sounds like you do. So that sounds amazing. What a terrific cause. That brick program, I'm trying to think of what they call it, like the stenciling or whatever they call it, but yeah, they have that. I've seen that at a few places. That's a great thing. And is that njfoundation.org and njgolffoundation.org?
Yes.
Do you know the website there?
njgolffoundation.org, and there's a click button for donate, and I like the idea, like you can have a laser engrave the names, in memory of your friends or in memory of your grandfather on a brick, either 4x8, like a classic brick. It looks like the vet hospital that's right there in Lyons, New Jersey, or an 8x8, and you can have your club logo laser engraved into this brick, and it's going to be a pathway that goes around this monument with some flags, with all the different the American flag. There's going to be, each division of the military and represented and stuff like that. There's also the special needs component. They work with kids with all different types of special needs at this Inspiration driving range as well. So it's a really good cause. I love it, and I'm just grateful that I can be involved in my own way. See, the older you get, you keep getting more proud Jersey. What can I say? I love it. I mean, for going all over the world, even in a short period of time, I've just had the good fortune too of being able to travel all over. I've traveled all over the world already, but for golf and for golf painting, I love coming home, and I'm very proud of where I'm from.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, I just think that's such an awesome cause. I don't even have the words to, like, those 3 pillars. You can't find 3 better causes for those kind of pillars, and that's great. And yeah, this has been awesome, Jen. I really appreciate you coming on. I could bombard you for hours and hours with questions on on stuff that you've done or been to or just anything. I personally, I find painting like the most fascinating thing. I can barely draw a stick figure, so it's really, when I see art, I don't feel like I appreciate it like the deepness of it always, especially like I did when I saw your paintings and I was looking at it. But I always think to myself, like, this is just a talented human being, because again, I can't draw a stick figure, so it's really impressive to me.
Yeah, well, thank you. If it helps at all, my family teases me because I can't play Pictionary. I can't draw a stick figure.
Well, man, we got that in common.
See?
We both can't draw stick figures.
See that? They're like, "Are you kidding me? You do this for a living?" Like, what? Nope, no. I'm hangman. I'm terrible. I lose. It's terrible.
Oh, man. Well, Jen, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Go check out her stuff if anybody's interested. NewJerseyGolfFoundation.org, another place to check out. Jen, thank you so much for coming on. This was amazing.
Sure appreciate it, Ryan. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Name a better feeling than buying something you can take and wear anywhere. Money spent on quality products is money well spent, even more so when you can rock that purchase just about anywhere. Why would you spend a fortune on clothes you'll only wear on the golf course when you can buy gear that's just as nice at home, at a holiday party, or work event, yet comfy enough it doubles as loungewear? Obviously, we'd all love to be playing 36 holes every weekend of the year, but just because you have to sneak in a quick 9 before work doesn't mean you need a change of clothes. As winter closes in, check out the new festive hoodies and beanies to fight off the chill at www.swannies.co and use code THEDROP25 for 25% off. Swannies is your go-to from work to golf and everything in between.